Up on the September 9th edition of Sports Extra. It's finally here, and honestly, it feels better than Christmas morning. It's football season. We'll talk through the Tar Heels season outlook.
This Carolina soccer player is fierce on the field, but she almost wasn't even on the team.
And I have a fever, and the only cure is more bell tower. To check out the craziest fans in the tar pit, all that and more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
What a way for the football team to bounce back. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Madison Way.
And I'm Georgia Walker. The Heels avenged an opening week loss to South Carolina by beating Middle Tennessee State handily on Saturday. Resident football expert Ryan O'Rourke joins us now to talk about the Heels and what we can expect from the 2013 season. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. The Heels redeemed themselves after that season-opening loss at South Carolina. What are some positives you've noticed after the two games so far?
Georgia, one big positive for the Tar Heels has been their tremendous balance on the offensive side of the ball. They ran the ball 33 times against Middle Tennessee State on Saturday, which is one less than the number of times they threw the ball. Bryn Renner completed passes to 12 different Tar Heels, going 23 for 34 for 339 yards with one passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. But the ground game can improve. Even though Romar Morris scored the ball 2 times, the 3 running back tandem of Morris, A.J. Blue, and Chris Francis combined for only 132 yards on 33 carries versus Middle Tennessee State and notched only 99 yards on the ground in South Carolina, which is something that has Coach Fedora very concerned.
I'll be honest with you. That was the biggest mystery to me. Coming out of that game, the entire game, I'm trying to figure out why we're not running the ball effectively. And so until I sit down and look at that film, it's hard for me to say. But I'm sure it's a combination of a lot of things.
So who's looking good on the defensive side for the Heels?
The linebacker tandem of Norkeithus Otis and Darius Litford have been causing problems all over the defensive side of the ball. Otis had 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks versus Middle Tennessee State, and also recorded a monster game in his first start at South Carolina with 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and a sack. Litford has also been dominant on the defensive side of the ball as well. He had 7 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and a sack against Middle Tennessee State, and the two just seem to feed off each other's energy pretty well. Because of that, they're probably going to see a lot more time together on defensive packages.
Darius Litford is probably one of the best players I've seen around. As you guys know, he's been hurt for 2 years, but he's coming back. He was nervous today, but after the game I asked him, was he nervous? He told me he wasn't nervous. I told him, hey, great players make great plays. He's a great player.
So what's an area of concern for the Heels as they head into their bye week?
Run defense, and more run defense. The Heels just can't seem to stop the ball. They've allowed back-to-back 100-yard rushing performances to start this season, giving up 386 total yards on the ground, which is definitely a stat that the coaches do not want to see because the Heels have to go into Atlanta and take on Georgia Tech following their bye week. And for all of y'all who remember the matchup last year against Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets ran all over the Tar Heels, putting up 380 yards on the ground and 68 points. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Heels go into Atlanta and play the Yellow Jackets on September 21st.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough road test to start off the ACC play. That's Ryan O'Rourke on the analysis of Tar Heel football. Thanks, Ryan.
Student athletes are students first, athletes second, right? That's what the Rawlings panel is urging universities to remember in a recently released report of 28 recommendations. But implementing some of those recommendations might present some big-time challenges.
There are only so many hours in the day, and exercise and sports science professor Barbara Osborne knows how easily those hours can disappear when you're a student athlete.
As a student athlete, I was up early every morning. I would go for a 4 or 5 mile run. I would then shower, hurry to classes, be in classes all day, lunch, study, go back to training, and then study all evening until I was just exhausted.
Osborne ran cross country in college. She graduated as the school's valedictorian. But not all student athletes are as academically successful as Osborne. Amidst academic scandals at Carolina, the Rawlings panel met in an attempt to improve academics for UNC athletes. The panel's 28 recommendations include academic support systems, transparency in data reports, and reform in university admissions evaluation of special admits. But Osborne says those students aren't nearly as common as some might think.
I think one of the true myths about student athletes here at UNC is that student athletes are all special admits, or that they're not as academically qualified as the rest of our student body. And that is just totally untrue. There are very few special admits.
The report also recommends a year of readiness for athletes considered special admits. But UNC Chair Faculty Jan Boxell says that a year of readiness could be useful to all first years.
To set out a special group is not perhaps the right way. I think freshman ineligibility is absolutely the way to go. And I think that it does set the tone that you're here to go to school, and then no travel with teams. Practicing may be one thing, but no travel, just the way it was back in the 60s and early 70s.
But sitting out an entire freshman class of athletes could put Carolina at a competitive disadvantage.
It's impossible for any one institution to implement all of those recommendations unilaterally without suffering the consequences for it.
The importance of academics remains, though, and Osborne thinks all athletes should put their education ahead of their athletics careers.
Your life as an athlete is going to be very limited and very short, whether it's your last game as a senior and that's it, or whether you go on to a professional career. An athletic career is still really short, and the piece of paper that you have when you graduate from here is something that'll last a lifetime.
The members of the Rawlings panel said in their report that they hope other universities will also consider their recommendations. Well, with all of the talk about academic scandals and sports taking priority over schoolwork, it's easy to forget about student athletes who excel on the field and in the classroom.
One Tar Heel shows off her field hockey talents at Carolina, but she can be found studying both at UNC and at Duke. Brenna Sukier has her story.
UNC sophomore Lauren Sheely is the first ever Division I athlete to receive the Robertson Scholarship, a merit-based full ride with a focus on leadership available to both UNC and Duke students. Sheely's ability to balance academics and athletics is impressive in itself, and now she's also juggling life at two schools thanks to a component of the scholarship called the semester switch.
What basically happens is the UNC scholars go over to Duke and the Duke scholars go over to UNC, and we just kind of spend a semester immersing ourselves in another culture, taking classes at a different campus and living on that campus as well.
Scholars participate in the switch during the spring semester of their sophomore year. They're encouraged to spend the majority of their time at their sister school and use the Robertson Express bus to commute between the two campuses. Keeping up with commitments at two schools is challenging for all scholars, and on top of that, Sheely has team practices, trainings, and games thrown into the mix.
It's been pretty crazy as an athlete. I've been back and forth almost daily between the two campuses.
Despite the hectic schedule, Associate Head Coach Grant Fulton says the switch has been nothing but beneficial for Sheely.
Her being at Duke, I think, is a wonderful opportunity for her. It's a great mix of cultures. She's learning a lot by being there, and she's a great example for UNC.
But after spending so much time in Blue Devil territory, does Sheely still consider herself a Tar Heel born and bred?
Oh, 100%. I would never cheer for Duke.
1, 2, 3, Heels! So even though Sheely's wearing 2 shades of blue this semester, we all know which one she looks better in. In Chapel Hill and Durham, I'm Brenna Sukier.
Sports Illustrated named Sheely the 2013 Female College Athlete of the Year.
She's the second winningest coach in NCAA women's basketball history, and now she's earned herself another honor. Women's basketball head coach Sylvia Hatchell was inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame Sunday. The ceremony took place at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Hatchell was inducted with other basketball legends like Rick Pitino, Gary Payton, and Jerry Tarkanian. Hatchell is one of only 7 women who are members of the prestigious club, and UNC is the only university with both active basketball coaches in the Naismith Hall of Fame. What would you give up to attend Carolina?
We'll take a look at a student who sacrificed his sport to become a Tar Heel, but he picked up a new one when he got here.
By liking the Sports Extra Facebook page and following us on Twitter @SportsExtra_UNC.
Now it's time for This Week in Bad Stats.
Bad stats?
Horrible stats. Here goes. 132.
That's how many batters struck out 4 times in one game last season.
Wow, very good. Here's a tough one, though. 3 and 4.
No idea.
That's how many kids witness bullying. 3 out of 4.
That's not a good stat.
No, it's not, but it can change. Kids want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov and give them the tools they need to help prevent bullying.
There are plenty of safe ways kids can help at stopbullying.gov.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
I've seen and been a part of many comebacks in my career.
To come back and win, you can't lose hope.
Take it one play at a time. Grab every opportunity, and when you can, you make a big play.
There are over 13 million people in the Horn of Africa affected by famine, war, and drought that are counting on us for help.
As a team, we can help end this crisis. Text GIVE to 777-444 to donate $10.
Let's start this comeback together.
Together.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Our women's athletes are the best in the nation. Saturday, the athletics department recognized the women's sports teams for being the first program in ACC history to win the Capital One Cup. The cup goes to the best male and the best female Division I college athletics programs in the country. The Lady Tar Heels finished with 140 points, moving two-time winner Stanford in second place. UNC women won national championships in soccer, lacrosse, and indoor tennis last year. The field hockey and outdoor tennis teams finished among the top 10 nationally. Quite an accomplishment for the Tar Heel women. Capital One presented UNC with a $200,000 scholarship check and a trophy. The #1 ranked Tar Heels remain undefeated in the team's quest to repeat as women's national soccer champions. Reporter Janelle Davis is here to break it down for us. Thanks for joining us, Janelle.
Thanks, Madison. After 2 more wins this weekend, the undefeated Heels have racked up 6 wins so far this season. Each game so far has turned into a shooting frenzy. The team outshot West Virginia 19-3 and had 23 shots against the then second-ranked UCLA Bruins. Most of those shots came from utilizing the wings and fast speed of play. The team's biggest weakness so far this season is failing to capitalize on corner kicks. Against Kennesaw State, the team had 13 corners but was unable to finish any of them. That is something the Heels will want to fix. A key player this season is senior midfielder Crystal Dunn, who leads on both offense and defense. She scored a goal in each game she has played in this season. She's not always available when she starts for the U.S. national team. Coach Anson Dorrance believes her biggest strength is her dribbling.
She's got such good lower body strength. She rides tackles as well as any player I've ever seen in the world.
Another piece to the Tar Heel success story is Caitlin Ball. She's a starting defender for the team, but almost was not on the team at all.
Caitlin Ball always looked up to the Tar Heel soccer team, but when she applied to UNC, she was just a regular, unrecruited student. 2 days before preseason, Ball was offered a position on the roster.
A lot of other weird coincidences happened and ended up walking onto the team.
During the past 2 years, Ball earned a starting position and a national championship.
Starting at the pin, 5'5" junior from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, number 2, Caitlin Ball.
I don't even think I dreamed it. I can't say dream come true because I just never thought it would happen.
Coach Anson Dorrance says Ball met his 3 criteria: commitment, academics, and character.
There's no question she is the absolute perfect player for the University of North Carolina.
Ball strives for perfection both on and off the field. She won the NCAA Elite 89 award for having the highest GPA of any player in the Final Four.
Her heart is as big as the field. She never quits, and she's an incredibly smart player.
As the #1 ranked team this season, Ball's goals go beyond just another repeat national championship.
The Tar Heel program is not just known for winning championships, it's known for dominating the whole season. And so I would love for us to dominate this season.
Although Ball was unknown when she walked onto the team, she certainly won't walk off that way.
There's no way I'm taking her off the field until the NCAA forces me to.
Lucky for Dorrance and the Tar Heels, Ball is a junior and has 2 seasons of eligibility left with UNC. She'll be back in action Thursday at Virginia Tech.
Well, I guess we'll all have to wait and see how far Ball, Dunn, and the rest of the Heels can go this season, but a national championship would be the team's 22nd. Thanks, Janelle.
Walking onto a varsity team at Carolina is no easy task, especially when it's a sport you've never played before. Reporter Delia D'Ambra tells us about one student athlete who makes picking up a brand new activity look easy.
After graduating from high school, junior Kevin Rodriguez had his sights set on playing college baseball. But coming to Carolina would change all that.
I had an offer to play at Penn State, and I also had a few D2 offers that I didn't want to really take. But when I came to visit Carolina, I decided that this was the place for me.
A place he couldn't play baseball, but along the way he found a new athletic calling. Fencing.
I tried out for the team and I just ended up making it out of nowhere.
Head coach Ron Miller thinks it's Rodriguez's team sport background that landed him one of the 5 walk-on spots.
He's a good athlete. He's a good role model. He understands the aspect of sports in general. So we were impressed with him.
Rodriguez thinks his quick adaptation to fencing comes from the very sport he gave up.
Well, I think my experience with baseball helped me, form bonds with them easier than I guess an individual sport would allow me to do.
Miller looks for athletes like Rodriguez in developing his program. To him, their skills are invaluable.
They come in with good athletic backgrounds. They understand how to work hard. They understand how to take direction. They understand the process of learning something from scratch.
Now in his 2nd year, Rodriguez has no regrets about giving up baseball and is certainly not on the fence about fencing.
I do miss baseball a lot, but I wouldn't trade my experience at Carolina for the world.
Reporting in Chapel Hill, I'm Delia D'Ambra.
The fencing team kicks off the season October 12th at the North American Cup in St. Louis. And what started as just a few students getting together for weekly workouts has turned into a nationally competitive team.
See how Carolina boxing has become one of the hottest clubs on campus. Next on Sports Xtra.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. No lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs, just keeping it real. Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? Lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry. I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Danse, balance, suis la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches, au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence, dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou.
You didn't give up on sex, don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
There's a new sport on the rise at Carolina, and it's a knockout. Luis Fernandez has more.
When you think UNC sports, what comes to mind? Football? Soccer? What about boxing? That's right, boxing. On its first day of practice last week, Carolina boxing had a record turnout of about 150 people. Team captain Tyler Shelton was excited to see so many people with an interest in the club.
Oh, it was amazing. We've never had that many in the history of the club.
And it's a long history.
The last competing team before recently was in 1937, I believe.
Since then, teams have come and gone, but now this group could be here to stay. Its success has been impressive, with current junior Michelle Kern winning a national championship last spring.
And I ended up having a match with a girl from West Point, and I mean, to me it felt pretty even, but apparently to Josh I completely beat her, I guess. I don't know, I guess it's a completely different feeling in the ring.
Not everyone has to be a boxing champion to join this student organization. In fact, the majority of those who join have no boxing experience and join only to stay in shape. They use a variation of stretching, cardio, and strength training. Freshman Ashley Bossanetto really enjoyed her time.
It was really fun, first of all. It was a hard workout, but I could already tell that it was a great way to meet people.
Carolina boxing is a campus sport on the rise, so I decided to give it my best shot. I'll be sparring national champion Michelle Kerr. On second thought, I think I'm good. Okay, so maybe boxing isn't for everyone, but according to President Zach Heidery, it's a great experience.
I've been a part of this organization for, I guess, two full years now, going into my third year, and I'm just so thankful to have been a part of it. I got into it my freshman year, and really it gave me a social outlet and a physical outlet and all these kind of things. It really helped me find myself at UNC.
With such a caring and family-like atmosphere, Carolina boxing is a key piece of the Carolina sports community. In Chapel Hill, I'm Luis Fernandez.
The boxing club is currently looking for lightweight males up to 135 pounds, heavyweight males, and women of all weight classes. Those who join would have a chance to compete in UNC's first ever collegiate boxing home show, Clash at Carolina. The event is October 26th at 6 p.m. at the Student Union's Great Hall. You can buy tickets from the Student Union's box office. The event will have UNC boxers competing in sanctioned bouts against boxers from ECU, Wake Forest, and VMI.
After the first season under head coach Harless Metters yielded mixed results, the UNC track and field team added some extra help this season, as 2 new assistant coaches joined the staff. Evan Badler has the story.
The Heels fell just short of making the podium at last year's ACC championships, something the coaches attribute to the team's lack of depth. This year, the team has added more than 20 first-year athletes as well as a handful of transfers. With a much larger team, head coach Harless Metters saw the opportunity to bring in a few new faces.
I think our total count is up to 85, so it's going to be a large number of kids to manage, and the extra coaching hands and coaching eyes will definitely be an asset for us.
Though the coaches are technically volunteer assistants, they hope to make an impact right away. Logan Roberts says the team's winning attitude attracted him to the job.
I knew that we would be competitive here. The staff is all on the same page, and they all just want to do everything they can to make the program better and do it the right way.
Tatiana Jacobson shares Roberts' desire to succeed and thinks the new assistants can contribute something the current coaches are lacking.
Some youth, just kidding, but just being an athlete, a recent athlete myself, hopefully being able to understand more of what the kids on the team go through and being able to translate that to the coaches.
Metters expects the new coaches to contribute a lot. He says as competition begins, the coaches will all learn from each other, regardless of age.
They also bring new ideas, new concepts, and we're always open for new suggestions on doing things better.
The Heels, both young and seasoned, will have plenty of time to get to know each other as they work to lift themselves onto the conference podium next season. In Chapel Hill, I'm Evan Badler.
The Heels will open the season at home January 18th with the Dick Taylor Invitational.
While fans will have to wait a while to see the track team in action, other Tar Heels will soon be competing at home for the first time this season. The volleyball team hosts George Washington on Friday at 7 in Carmichael Arena. Also on Friday, the field hockey team will take on Old Dominion at 6 at Henry Stadium. And you can cheer on the swimming and diving teams as they hold their annual Blue versus White event on September 28th. So grab a paintbrush and show some pride.
Carolina's biggest student fan club always goes hard in the paint. Tar Heel Athletics, next on Sports Extra.
Don't forget to tune in to our sister shows, Carolina Week at 5 p.m. every Wednesday on Time Warner 24 or Campus Channel 34, and Carolina Connection at 8:30 every Saturday morning on WCHL 97.9 FM.
Packers,
Vikings, Red State, Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
But when we live united, we create real lasting change in the education, income, and health of our country. Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
And now for our This Week in History segment. On September 12, 1981, under Coach Dick Crum, UNC football opened its season by dominating East Carolina 56-0. Junior tailback Kelvin Bryant, who later went on to a sterling NFL career, recorded 211 rushing yards. Bryant set a school record that day with 6 rushing touchdowns. Now, this year's football team will be facing ECU September 28th. I personally expect to win out of that game. But joining us once again is Ryan O'Rourke to talk about the whole season and predictions. Go ahead, Ryan, start us off.
Well, unfortunately, Madison, I have the Tar Heels going into Georgia Tech after our bye week and losing to the Yellow Jackets. But the good news is the Tar Heels will win the next 8 of their 9 games, including a tough road win at Blacksburg, Virginia against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Ultimately, I see them finishing around 9-3 with a second-place finish in the Coastal Division behind Miami.
Well, I'd say there are 13 returning starters for the offense, so I'm not worried about that. However, defense, I'm a little skeptical how they're going to fare against ACC's major powerhouses.
Well, powerhouses, we only really had to play one of them. That's Miami, October 17th. I don't care how great those Zero Dark Thursday jerseys are. That's a tough team to beat. I have us going 8-4 in the season with a loss against South Carolina, Miami, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech. But we're just going to have to wait and see. You can follow Sports Extra all season long to see how the Tar Heels fare.
No matter how our Heels do this season, they'll have strong support from one student group, week in and week out. Catherine Fitzgerald has the story.
If you've been to any UNC sporting event, you've seen Carolina Fever, the student-run spirit group, out in full force. They're the ones leading cheers and painting up to get everyone more excited about rooting for the Heels.
UNC has outstanding athletics department and outstanding sports teams here. So I think everyone should want to show off their school spirit, come out, support their student athletes at their events, be a fan to your university and your athletics here.
But it's not just attending events. This year, Fever is taking the initiative to help educate fans about Olympic sports.
We've talked about having some coaching informational session type things where people don't necessarily know the rules of field hockey or wrestling, so having the coaches and the players sit down and kind of explain it, we think will help people be more engaged in those activities.
Other plans for this upcoming year include adding tailgates before home football games and rewarding students who come early with a dinner with football coach Larry Fedora. It's all part of an effort to get more students to come out to games.
We think that the student athletes work really hard and deserve to have fans there to support them, so that's what we want to do.
And it's not too late to join. Simply sign in with your PID at any Fever event and you can join the 12,000 current members. In Chapel Hill, I'm Catherine Fitzgerald.
The next Fever event is this Friday when the men's soccer team takes on Maryland. So Madison, would you paint up?
If it means that I'm front row at the Dean Smith Center, absolutely. I absolutely will. Well, that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks for watching.
Good night.